So today we are going to start new chapter number 3, that is fiber to fabric. That means fiber to fabric, how we are making the clothes. And we all know clothes are very important part of our life. We wear clothes to cover our body, to protect ourselves from extreme weather conditions like too much hot, too much cold during rainy days, from insect and animals. Clothes protect us, and even clothes also worn by people give information about their social, geographical and economic condition. So clothes are very important for us. So today we will see how we are getting from fiber we are getting fabric and we are making the clothes. So that is fiber to fabric. So in the previous class we had already studied about some fibers, that on the basis of the fibers from where we are getting, the fibers are classified into two categories. Animal fiber, two categories, that is plants fiber and animal fiber, natural fibers and synthetic fibers. So fibers are classified into two categories, natural fiber and synthetic fiber. Natural fiber means the fiber that we get from nature, that is called natural fiber, and synthetic fiber that we are making in factories. So again, natural fiber which we get from nature are classified into two categories, that is plant fiber and animal fiber. So plant fiber means the fibers which we get from plant, and animal fiber means which we get from animal. For example, cotton we get from plant while wool we get from animal. So example we can give as cotton, cotton plant fiber, wool and silk animal fiber. Cotton we get from cotton plant, cotton, jute. So all these are plant fibers, while wool, silk, these are animal fibers. So cotton is mainly used for making summer wear. We are using cotton as summer clothes. Wool is we are using wool in winter wear, means winter clothes we are using wool because it is insulating properties. Because of its insulating properties we use wool in the winter season and we use cotton in the summer season. And silk is a very popular fiber which is used to make a variety of beautiful and expensive clothes. So now we will study about the animal fiber, that is wool and silk. So in animal fibers, in this chapter we will study about the animal fibers, and first of all we will study about the silk. So from animal fiber, first of all we will see how we will get the silk. So silk is the very expensive fabrics all over the world. It is very famous for its smooth texture and shiny look, and different type of silks are there. So different silk clothes we are getting different quality. So these all are very shiny and smooth texture. So it is also the strongest fiber known. It is known as the strongest fiber. The silk is produced by the silkworms, and the cultivation of silkworms, that is to produce the silk, that is called sericulture. So you can these are the characteristics or properties of silk, that is very smooth and shiny, and it is produced by silkworm. It is produced by silkworm, and the cultivation of silkworm to produce silk, that is called sericulture. So the process by which silk is produced by silkworm, that is called sericulture. So first of all we will learn some history about the silk, that how the silk came into consideration, how we got the silk. So it is about 5000 years ago the silk was found in China. So it was found by the Chinese. According to Chinese legend, the queen of emperor, when she was having tea in the garden, she discovered the thread of the silk very strong and started weaving it into fabric. So because of her only the silk industry started in China, and the Chinese, they were keeping it secret how to produce the silk, or the silk production they were keeping in secret and making huge profits out of it. But nowadays slowly the silkworms were smuggled out from China, and silk production began in India, Europe and Middle East. So even today also China is known as the largest producer of silk in the world, but nowadays India also started producing the silk by keeping silkworms. So now we will see how the silk is produced, or the making of silk. So silk is an animal fiber. It is made by silkworms. In the form of a cocoon they spin around themselves. So a single thread from a cocoon can be 1600 meters long, and the structure is like protein. So it is a poor conductor of heat and keeps the body warm in winter and cool in summer. So silk we are using in both the seasons, winter and summer, and it is produced by or made by silkworms in the form of a cocoon. They spin around themselves. They are known as silkworm. The insect is known as silkworm, but the silk producing insects are actually the larvae of silk moth, that is Bombyx mori, which are domesticated for large scale production of silk. So silk is made by silkworm in the form of cocoon which they spin around themselves. Though they are called silkworms, they are actually the larvae of silk moth. They are called silkworm, but they are the larvae of silk moth, that is called Bombyx mori, which are domesticated for large scale production of silk. So now we will see how the silkworm is produced. So first step is raising silkworm. In making the silk, the first step is raising silkworm, where a silk moth lays about 200 to 300 eggs and dies. A silk moth lays on 200 to 300 eggs. After that it dies. The eggs are kept in temperature between 25 to 31 degrees Celsius in highly humid conditions for a gestation period of about 3 weeks. So they are kept in this temperature 25 to 31 degrees Celsius. For 3 weeks they are kept. After that the worms hatch out. After that from the eggs the worms hatch out. They are kept in bamboo trays and immediately start feeding on fresh mulberry leaves. So the silkworms are always fed in mulberry leaves. So after hatching from the eggs, they are kept in bamboo trays and immediately start feeding on fresh mulberry leaves. The worms are protected from harmful flying insects by wrapping the trays with cotton cloths. So to protect the worms from the insects or from any other animals, they are wrapping the trays with the cotton close. So this is the first step, that is raising silkworms. So for raising silkworm, first of all a silk moth is taken which lays 200 to 300 eggs and dies. Then the eggs are kept in temperature region 25 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius in humid condition. So that is called their gestation period, where the worms hatch out from the eggs. After hatching or after coming out from the eggs, worms are fed on mulberry leaves. Continuously they are feeding or cleaned and moved for 2 to 3 weeks. Continuously they are fed on mulberry leaves for 2 to 3 weeks. After that the worms stop feeding and ready for making silk. So each silkworm then secretes liquid silk. Each silkworm secretes liquid silk from the opening under its mouth. So within 2 to 3 days they form a full cocoon, and that time they are called pupa. So within 2-3 days they form a full cocoon and called as pupa. So after that, extracting threads. The next technique is extracting threads, where cocoons are put into pots of boiling water. So cocoons are boiled so that they can in the boiling water the insects can be killed. So it is put in the pots of boiling water to kill the insect inside and to make the outer coating soft and loose. Cocoons are very hard. These cocoons are very hard. So boiling also make them soft. Boiling make the cocoons soft and loose, so that the thread is pulled out from the cocoon by a special technique. So that single thread, when it is pulled out and it is reeled, that process is called reeling of silk. This process is called reeling of silk. So here first of all the cocoons are put in the boiling water. The two reasons are there. First of all, cocoons are very hard. So while boiling in the water, the outer covering they becomes very soft and loose, so that the thread can be pulled. And another reason, to kill the insect inside, the cocoons are put in the boiling water. So next one is dyeing and spinning. So after getting here a single thread is pulled and reeled, after getting the loose soft outer coating, the single thread is pulled and reeled. That process is called reeling of silk. After that the silk is dyed in different colors, because we are wearing different colors clothes. So that is, the silk is dyed in different colors and spun into yarn. So different qualities of silks are separated based on the length and texture of the yarn. Some silks are long, some silks are short. So based on the length and the texture of the yarn, so these are separated. The qualities of silk are separated and dyed into different colors. So here first of all it is dyed into different colors, then spun into yarn. So the yarn is woven into beautiful fabrics. After that the yarn is used in weaving beautiful fabrics. So most of the silk making works is done by women in villages. So you can see in the book diagram is given life cycle of silk moth. Life cycle of silk moth, that is eggs. From eggs larva is coming and then they are forming cocoon, which is a hard outer covering, and then from the cocoon that adult moth. So this is the life cycle of a silk moth, from egg larva to cocoon to adult moth. There are different types of silk. Next is our types of silk. Different types of silk because of the different types of silk moths. So there are different types of silk due to the different silk moth made by different types of silk moth. So in India mainly the varieties of silk are mulberry, tussar, eri, muga. All these silks are produced in different parts of the country also, and in India also. These are the main produced silk. So this is all about the silk, how silk we are getting. First of all we are raising the silkworms, then we are feeding the silkworms, then we are extracting the thread and then boiling the cocoons to get the thread, then we are dyeing the silk into different colors and then spinning into yarn. After making yarn we are weaving beautiful fabric. So this is all about the silk. So along with this read your book how the silk is produced. Next class we will study about the wool.